My name's Alam. This is my second talk. I currently work for a company called Boxxe. Boxxe purchased a company called CAE. CAE are really good friends with Cisco to a point where Cisco sneezed, I think, a few quarters ago. 40% of our workforce went. So, you know, it is what it is. I was talking to two of the guys here, and they mentioned that they want to contribute to open source projects and just want to improve their skill set. Cloud Native Foundation, which is, if you follow that link over there, you could actually support their projects. So if you want to update, say, documentations or find bugs or just anything around those kind of areas, you can. You need to have a GitHub account. You can follow those guys on Slack. They're all very welcoming. They're very nice people. But yeah, on the side you can see here the tech stack. So his Go is a shell, is a whatever that says. You don't have to be an expert, you just have to know the basics and just be willing to learn. Okay, cool. So with me, I work in a NOC, which is 24/7. So I do 4 days on, 4 days off. I did it in my spare time. I do talks, so this is my second talk. I also do a lot of badges and certificates because I get bored and I don't have a social life. So these are the ones that I have at the moment. I think there's like 45 here. Most of them I do on my night shift. At times when I'm bored or there's something I want to learn. So I just go out and do it. A lot of it is Cisco based, a lot of it is networking, cloud infrastructure. All of this came out of my own pocket, my own curiosity. Okay, cool. So enough about me. I'm going to be talking about security as code, Terraform OPA, and using S3 buckets as a primary example, and I'm going to give examples of customers, companies in the past who have leaked data using because of S3 buckets. Accenture and Microsoft are going to get a special announcement. Sorry, no, I'm joking. So I've got 4 years of experience in tech. Primarily started in support. Shocking, I know. It's probably because I talk too much. A lot of it is, I did 1 year for AbilityNet, I did 13 months for a company called Computers in Wolverhampton, and then for CAE, purchased by Boxxe. A lot of what I do is networking based Cisco, within a Cisco environment, and in my own spare time, I do Azure, AWS, Terraform, Python, and Go, depending on the project and depending on my curiosity. I am self-taught and I do have a lot of badges, and I've done many projects in the past, and then from certificates to mini projects to doing talks, and hopefully someone will give me a job. Hi. Hi, me please. Okay, so the agenda is based upon 3 different stages. The problem with traditional security, Terraform as a baseline and a guardrails, policy as code using OPA, and Conftest, whatever that says, and forcing using S3 buckets and EKS, using CI and CD principles, and in a summary of what we talked about. So hopefully you guys won't be asleep by then. So traditional security focuses a lot on isolation. It focuses on using static tools. The tech environment's always changing. There's always things to learn. So you've got firewalls, VPNs, manual access control, lists. Depending on your vendor, they pretty much all mean the exact same thing. VPNs, FortiGate will have their own version of it. Microsoft will have their own version. Firewalls will have, you have different vendors will have different naming for access control list, which is pretty much just someone at the front door saying you can get in, you can't get in. I don't like you, sorry. So it's just that. With the amount of visibility tools out there, observability tools out there, it means that engineers or people who are troubleshooting these kind of things, they have to go from one tool to another tool to another tool just to get a different perspective of what's happening, whilst on the other line the customer's screaming. It happens. So, yeah, I did not draw that. So, examples of it happening. So, you got FedEx in 2018 passport scans and personal data exposed via S3 bucket leak. Capital One 2019, over 100 million customer records were exposed. Microsoft, I'm just going to skip that one because I know someone's from Microsoft here. I don't want to get sued. Guys are a bit sensitive with those kind of stuff. 2021, a mega car sensitive internal data leakage. Toyota 2022, customer data exposed via misconfiguration of S3 bucket. 2023, Twilio, breach of national security policy implications. They said it wasn't done, but we know it's done because it's on the board. But sometimes what can happen is that it can happen because of someone doing something stupid internally. We all had those days. But it can happen because of a third-party vendor. So, for example, Equifax, there was a known vulnerability out there, but they just didn't patch it up. So, you know, stuff happens. In my own place, we had Cisco released a vulnerability, I think it was like last month, with the Catalyst 9500 switches. What ended up happening is myself and three others, we had to do patching at night time, which is really fun, by the way. Yes, okay, honestly. The whole process, so what I'm going to be the path of how the infrastructure that I created is based upon Terraform, Conftest, Rego, which is OPA is language, which is declarative. It's worth learning if you want to know more about it. It is pretty much, the website has a lot of real life examples and then CI and CD integration. Okay, so what you see here is another attempt at me trying to draw something else now. It's ChatGPT's attempt. Okay, so what Terraform allows you to do is that it allows you to list your I did that on purpose. So it allows you to list the vulnerabilities. No, it allows you to list the dependencies of your infrastructure, which in essence shows you how one resource talks to another resource talks to another resource, and shows you how everything is dependent on each other. So with Terraform, if you use Terraform Graph, this is my own environment, so don't get too happy. So you've got your nodes here, you got your data, AWS, you got the availability zones, you got the clusters, you got the security groups. Everything here is encrypted. Everything here is port 22, which is SSH, and port 3389, which is RDP, have all been disabled. You can't get public access to the resources without going through Terraform or without going to OPA, and then it will just throw up, it will just end the whole process. Again, this is, Terraform allows you to do a dry run. A dry run is pretty much, it shows you what infrastructure is going to be built, but it won't implement anything. Because it won't implement anything, you won't be charged. So funny thing is that I gave a talk last month, right? And it charged me like £200 a month. Stuff expensive, you know, especially with AWS. Okay, like this again. You have encryption at rest is in, data at rest is encrypted. EBS, EKS, and S3 buckets are. Monitoring is all enabled. Network security set at least privileged, obviously. VPS flows, everything is logged. So when an incident does happen, you can actually go, oh, look what happened, and then blame the interns for it. I'm joking. EKS, like I say, everything is logged. Not only logged, there's also a paper trail for it. TI stole that from me, by the way. So compliance, monitoring, and data, network security, it's all enabled. Everything is, all the I's and the T's are dotted and crossed. Okay, so this is the actual infrastructure. Like I said, this came out of my own pocket, so you're all welcome. Okay, do I need to explain this? Okay, so you got the API servers, endpoints, certificates there. Created 3 hours ago, it wasn't created 3 hours ago. You've got, what I'm showing you now is that all the clusters, the health of the clusters, the security permissions for the clusters, who can access the clusters, the S3 buckets, how everything goes through. See, basically, with a lot of the previous examples, with companies who have butterfingers, that's what I'm saying. A lot of times it's just public or private resources that should be private, they're made public. Shouldn't do that. But yeah. So I'm just going to stand here, but you can just watch my mouse move about. See, look, magic. Yeah. When I get nervous, I crack stupid jokes. But see, all of this was done by Terraform and OPA. They both work together. Shocking, but it's true. Security jam. Naming conventions is something I'm not really good at, so I just gave it a really bland name. But CloudTrail. And then you see the permissions. A block all public access is on. You can have pictures in your S3 bucket of cats if you want. Here's what it is. Public access to blocked because public access settings were turned on for this bucket. That was actually turned on because of Terraform. Terraform is infrastructure as code. It's an easier way to spin up infrastructure, but it's also an easy way to destroy it, which is always fun to do. But it leaves a cloud trail, so it's nice in that sense. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm typing here. Cloud trail. So this goes on for. See, the logs are shown there. Shows who or what or when did someone try to access the resources. A lot of times where everybody says least privilege, but least privilege sometimes means that I can't be bothered, you can have access to everything. There's actually a funny story about that. So there's a new starter that joined, right? So I was giving him access to Horizon, my manager was, and actually gave him access to the admin console, and I'm like, can you make sure I don't get any calls? But he didn't. Yeah. What can you do? But yeah. So going through security groups, again, IAM policies, groups. The user is just me, because I don't have any friends. Okay, there's no user, see? See, me. Okay, I should really stop there because this is my key. Anyway, nobody saw anything. But yeah, a lot of times when vulnerabilities do occur, the common solution is update your resources, and now you just go in repeat mode, which is quite handy, but it doesn't really tell you much about why did it happen, where did it happen, who made it happen, and then what processes and procedures can we put in place for it to prevent. In the NOC where I work, one of our customer salvation army, myself and my manager, we wrote the whole troubleshooting guidebook for him. So when an alert is created, what do you do from step to step? And we manage like all of their sites, and I've only been there for like 17 months. So EKS secure by default. So private endpoint only, private access is true. Endpoint public access is false, meaning that public people can't get access to it. Sorry. Control plane login, API servers, audit logs, authentication, control manager logs, and schedule logs. So again, you can see everything, and everything is monitored. So, Mark Twain would be very happy. Okay, so this is, so I use code image, not to write the code, but more to just make it look pretty. So what you're seeing on the, I think that's my right or left, I don't know, one of the side, on the slide over there. Key security features, yeah, exactly. Pre-security features, pre-execution validation, policy enforcement, customer security rules using Rego, which is OPA's own language, artifact retention, technical improvements, official for reliability and management, early failure detection. So because we're shifting left now right, left basically means that you're being proactive with your security, you're not being reactive like a third-party company, or your customer's not saying, there's something wrong here. You're more or less taking an approach of saying that, okay, so this is the issue that we might have. This is the policies and procedures and enforcement we can put in place to prevent it from happening. So that's what you do. EKS, policy, OPA, security, network security. So policy restriction, and then you have that side. Then on this side, you have the impact. So all Kubernetes API communication routed through the VPC, which runs to AWS. And we all know AWS is extremely secure. Everybody knows that. It's a fact. A limited risk of unauthorized external access, so they can't access your your data, which apparently it's valuable these days. Maintain network isolation within a private cloud infrastructure. So because it's isolated for a good reason, in the sense that it's a good reason that stuff's isolated. I have no idea why, but deny creation of EK cluster. So admin staff or people who have just recently joined the company, they don't have full access to the infrastructure. And then control plane login enforcement, policy enforcement, EKS cluster plane login. So intent is ensure a comprehensive login, requirements, API Kubernetes, API server operations, audit, authentication, scheduling, control manager. There's like a long list of other stuff that a snippet of code does. That's from OPA, and then summary that. And yeah, thank you for listening.